Hello everyone, this is Namrata. Hope you all are doing good and staying safe. In today's video session, we will cover another topic in Salesforce which is related to Salesforce Developer Console. We will discuss this topic in detail. And if you all remember, we used this Developer Console in one of our video wherein we discussed about the Salesforce Object Query Language, right? So we use this Developer Console to write down our SOQL queries, and then we have seen how can you execute our queries using the developer console and make any changes using the developer console? So in this session, we will cover in detail and understand various tasks that you can do using the dev console. So here is the agenda for today's session. We will understand in detail what is a developer console. Then we will understand how can you access the developer console, what is the user interface in developer console, what and all are the various console tabs that are accessible. You can access it from the developer console. Then we will get into our demo. So let's understand in detail what is a Salesforce Developer Console. Salesforce Developer Console is an integrated development environment. More typically, it is called as a IDE, where you can create, debug, and test applications in your app. So it is a native integrated development environment application, and this tool is very useful tool wherein you can create, you can debug. If you wanted to test anything, you can do a lot of different things using your developer console. So you can call this developer console as a one-stop solution for variety of our development tasks that we perform usually. So this developer console, you can do various tasks, like if you wanted to generate logs for debugging, you can do it from your developer console directly. If you want to test your Apex code, you can do it from the developer console. You can write and execute your Salesforce object query language. Likewise, you can write down your Salesforce object search language SOSL queries using the developer console. If you wanted to write down your Apex classes, you can very well do it from the developer console. Write down your triggers, aura components, visual force pages, and if you have any lightning components, you can do a lot of different things using the developer console. You can execute the code by opening the anonymous window. And if you want to run your batch class, you can go ahead and do it from the anonymous window. So that is the reason why most of our developers prefers to use this developer console rather than the application, because of the user interface and the look and feel, which makes the life of our developer or our system admin very easy. So they can easily go ahead and write down their code. They can come and directly do some debug analysis if they want to search any specific component. All of this is something which can be done easily using the user interface which is provided, which is available on the developer console. So that makes it as a one-stop solutions for our developers or our system admins. So these are all of the permissions that are required for the developer console. If you wanted to access the developer console, let's take a look into what all different permissions are required. If you want to use the developer console, you would need the API enabled and view all data. In order to view, retain, and delete debug logs, if you wanted to delete anything from the developer console, you need view all data. This is important. You would need this view all data. As a system admin, if you have view all data, then definitely you will be able to view, retain, and delete the debug logs. Now, if you wanted to run your anonymous code, right? You are a system admin, so you are a developer, and you're writing your Apex class, and you wanted to verify whether your Apex class is running fine or not. So what do? You can directly go to your developer console, you can write down your Apex class, and then you can run the Apex class. In order to run the Apex class, you would need this author Apex permissions. And if you want to use code search and run the SOQL or the SOSL, then you would need the API enabled permission. Likewise, if you wanted to save changes to the Apex classes and the triggers, you would need author Apex permission. So if you have this specific permission, author Apex, you can save the changes to the Apex classes and the triggers, and very well you can go ahead and execute the same code in the anonymous Apex. In order to save changes to the Visual Force pages and the components, you would need this customize application. If you have this customize application permission, you can make the changes to the Lightning resources also. So you can review these permissions, and according to your business use case, how do you want to make use of this developer console, you can have these permissions, and then you can give it to your developers who wanted to make use of this developer console for whatever the functionality they would like to. Like if you want to search anything, if you want to execute anything, you may have to give these required permissions for our developers or any other team members in your team. So there are different sections in the developer console. We have the menu section, which is on the top. Then you have the workspace tab. The middle section, you call it as a workspace tab. Then, or you can call it as a source code editor. Then you have the different, what do you call, different sections at the bottom. So you have three sections. First section, top, middle, and the bottom section. Bottom section is where, if you remember, we have written our SOQL query, right? In the query editor, that section is mainly related to the logs, test, and problems panel. So we will discuss this in detail when we log in into our developer console. So now let us try to log into our Salesforce dev environment, and let us try to open our developer console. So one thing to remember, that if you're logging in, in an organization, right, you have multiple environments. You may have developer environment, you may have user acceptance testing environment or sandbox, then you have the production environment. So as if you log into your developer org, if you're into a developer sandbox, and from the developer sandbox environment, your org, you can log in into the Salesforce developer console. Likewise, if you logged in into your production environment, right? Production environment is nothing but your live environment. So if you wanted to write down any SOQL queries, or if you want to quickly go ahead and search something from the production Salesforce environment, or also you can go ahead and open your developer console. So each org, you can open the developer console. So if you are working on multiple organizations, you just have to be very careful that which specific org developer console is open, and according to that, you can make the changes, you can search the components. I will walk you through on how you can open the developer console for our development org. So now let's quickly log in into our Salesforce DevOps. So I have already logged in into my Salesforce DevOps, right? So this is my Salesforce DevOps. Just a second. Yeah, so I have logged in into my Salesforce DevOps. So from the Salesforce DevOps, if you see on the right-hand side, you see this gear icon, right? This gear icon, if you click on it, you see this developer console. So this is my developer environment. So when you open this developer console, the console of this, that specific environment which you have opened, that developer console will be, you can open that specific environment, developer console. Now, so if you see here, I was talking about, so this clearly says that this is my dev environment, and the section what we are referring here, this is the, as we have seen in our PowerPoint presentation, right? The first section is called as a menu bar section. The second section is the tab of whenever you open any of these, each of those workspaces will be open. And the third section is the logs, test, or the panel section. Now, when you try to open the developer console, this section is the menu bar section. Here, this is the workspaces or the, workspaces or tabs. As soon as you open it, all those components will be open. And this is the logs, test, checkpoints, query editor. So the section is divided into three sections. This developer console is divided into three sections. First section one, this is called the second section, middle section, and then the third section. So here you can see, right, as I was mentioning, developers can make use of this dev console to do a lot of different activities or tasks. Like if you want to click on file, click on new. Here you can see, right? You have Apex class, you have Apex triggers, Visual Force page, Visual Force component, if you want to create a new static resource, you want to create a Lightning application, Lightning component, interface, event, token, all of this is something you can create directly from your developer console. Okay, so I will show you how to create a new Apex class in a while. But before that, let's navigate and let's check all of the other tabs, whatever we have. Now, if you wanted to open any of the component, right, you wanted to open any triggers, click on open. So here you see it is opening a lot of different entities. You want to open classes, you can directly click on any of the class here section and then you can open it. If you want to open any triggers, it will open the entities over here. Pages, all these will be visible over your page component. You have different objects, right? You see here account, what is it related to, what Apex triggers, what related triggers you have. If you want to open this is that you don't have anything. Likewise, click on the same. You have static resources. Do we have any other static resources available? What all different packages we have? Since this is my developer org, you do not find any of the packages. Let's go to the Apex class and try to open any of the component. Even this is hidden. Yeah, so you have this, right? So you have seen how did I open this particular class, right? So when I click on it, double click it, or you can click on the open, it will open the um, code directly here. So here, if you want to make any of the changes, you can directly go ahead and make any changes here. So if you want to write down any piece of code, you can easily go ahead and write down your piece of code, and then you can execute it. So I will walk you through on how can you create a new Apex class and then how can you run the Apex classes. Likewise, if you want to open any of the triggers, you can very well go ahead and open it directly from the developer console. So this is something you don't have anything. I don't think I have anything here, right? So yeah, let's go and look into other open resource. So these and all are your components, that is Apex classes. If you have any of the Apex classes, you can very well come to this resources. If you have Lightning components, everything you can open it directly from your open resource. And if you want to search, you can quickly find and search anything. Suppose if you have controller. So here you see controller Apex hidden. Let's go back, open resource. You don't have anything over here. So if you want, you can do a lot of different things. I don't want anything here. If you want to open any Lightning resources, right? Lightning resources, you have the Lightning component, you have JS. Likewise, you have a lot of different components, right? You can open up anything. You see, you have the component, you have controller, you have helper class, you have style, you have documentation. If you want to open anything, you can click on the component and click on open selected. So here, yes, definitely you don't have anything because I don't have any of the Lightning components, like Lightning web component. Yeah. So you got an clear idea, right? How can you open any of the resources? Like how can you make use of this file section? Likewise, if you are onto the Apex class, you can directly come. You can write down your Apex class and you can save it. So the user interface is the look and feel of this developer console is aligned so well that you can easily make any changes to the code that you are making. Now, if you wanted to find anything, you can quickly search from the Apex class, right? Like you have here. Now you can give Control F and you can find something. If you want to find something like merchandise, and click on search, it will let me know where and all this specific word has been used, right? You see here, these are all of the places it's been referenced. So that's how you can make use of this edit tab and find. If you want to replace anything, you can do. If you want to search anything here, you can do that. If you want to fix the indentations, you can very well go ahead and fix the indentations. Now, if you want to debug anything, so I will try to create a new Apex class for you all, and then we will try to open this anonymous window and we'll try to execute the code. If you want to change the log levels, right? Whenever you create any debug logs in the Salesforce, you have certain log levels, right? Now, when you click on this, add, you can create, you can select any of the classes or the triggers. You can add that specific class and the triggers, trace, overrides. And if you want to go to your general trace settings, click on add. You see here, you can change it to finest. If you want any callouts, Apex code, and if you have anything related to the system, you can make the changes to the components debug levels, and you can click on done. The changes can be done automatically directly from the developer console. If you want to add any specific user, right, you wanted to trace the users while doing the debugging, so that is also something which you can directly come to the developer console and you can add it. If you want to, you will need the user ID of that specific user for whom you are trying to do the debug. You can get the user ID of that user, click on add this user ID and click on add. Once you add it, the traces of that specific user will be available and you will be able to trace out what exactly is the issue with that specific user and where is the issue being occurred. So all of this is something that is possible that you can do it using the change log levels. So if you want to clear, you can clear everything. If you want to hide, you can hide. You want to execute this, I will walk you through. Now let's talk about what is this workspace. So you can create your new workspaces. Suppose if you're working on different projects, right, which are related to the same piece of code or anything, then what you can do is you can create a new workspace, and related to your workspace changes, you can update it on that specific workspace. And if you want to easily switch on, you can use the switch workspace tab, and you can easily switch the workspaces while you're working on different projects. So you can make use of this workspace. And if you want to rename the workspace, if there is anything related to the workspace manager, you can make use of this workspaces tab. Now let's talk about, yeah, you can very well go ahead and refer this help documents. There are a lot of different shortcut keys which are available. If you want to refer the Lightning component library, you can go ahead and do the changes. So we spoke about the section, this middle section, right? And now let's talk about what is this last section we have. Here you see you have logs, right? Currently we don't have any logs, but if you are making any changes, so this log section is all about the debug logs, what we have. If you're making anything in your Salesforce, all of this is something which will be visible over here. What is this test? Here you can see all my Apex classes, the entire code coverage will be displayed over here. So here it clearly says that the overall code coverage is 77%. So if you see that there is anything which is email mission specialist, so this is the Apex class that I have created lately. So this Apex class doesn't have any code coverage. So it is clearly giving me that, okay, your Apex class, whatever you have in your arm, do not have the 75% code coverage. So you may have to go ahead and work on writing the test classes for this one, code coverage for this one. There are different checkpoints. This query editor we have discussed in detail. If there is any view state, you will be able to view the size, what and all of the progress is happening. Any problems, if you see any problems, if you're writing your Apex class, right, something is not working as expected. Suppose consider that I'm adding anything else and I'm trying to save it, Control S. So it tells me that it is saving my Apex, and then it is still saving. It is taking some time. It will analyze where exactly could be the issue, and it will provide the details in the problems tab. Let it save, let it take its own time, and then we'll see what is the error that we are getting in the problem itself. So that these are the main things that you can do using the developer console. So what we will do in our next video session is, which will be our continuation session. So in that session, what we will try to do, we'll try to create a Apex class. We will try to run the Apex class in the anonymous window, right? And then we will also analyze the debug logs, and we will see what all different things that you can do in the logs. And when you do certain things in your Salesforce front-end UI, how can you directly verify the details in your debug logs? We will see that in our session 2. So here you see, it is clearly telling me that at the line 36, there is an error. So that is the beauty of the developer console. So rather than you using your Salesforce front end, the look and feel of the Salesforce front end is not that appealing, right? So that is the reason most of the developers will make use of this developer console, and you can very well go ahead and find out any issues. If you have, you can find out, you can run the debug logs, everything at a single place. So that's all for today's session. Until our next session, please do take care of yourself. Signing off, yours, Namrata Kariyala. Bye bye.